Hello and welcome to Rural Concerns, a podcast where a city dweller and a countryside dweller check in on each other instead of paying for therapy.
Yes, I'm Sunil Patel, and I'm using this podcast to check up on our friend Chris after he moved to rural Northumbria. How's everything up there, Chris?
This country needs an iron fist and a naval expansion program. The world is becoming more and more dangerous because of war. And higher defence spending will solve it.
But what's happening in the countryside?
I have taken control of the John Wick Reddit page. Brackets r/John Wick, and recruited 90% of them to march on Parliament to stop ULEZ expanding to Carlisle.
I'm producer James, and I think piss is stored in the balls.
I'm getting absolutely in the neck for the Nutty Cloud fiasco.
Really?
Yeah, I went on another podcast and said it was 3,000 calories a packet, and it's, people flooding in, saying you're wrong. It's 800. You can have 4 of them.
Yeah, I love that people are like, this is how many you can have to have the maximum. Everyone's like,
if you only eat Nutty Clouds.
The technical maximum, calories are the only metric by which to enjoy a good diet.
Absolutely.
Can I just ask one question on this podcast? Did you say that you have your own podcast called World Concerns?
That's very interesting. You should ask that, but I can't remember.
What podcast was it? Was it Martin Lewis Money Saver?
It's called The Rest is Politics.
The Rest is Confectionery.
No, it was Trusty Hogs, my flatmate's podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the hat, by the way? I like your cap.
This is a band called USA Nails, and I got the hat free because I know someone in the band. So
accountant.
Shout out USA Nails.
USA Nails. Link in the comments.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something about Linkin Park.
What's it called, this segment? But can we not have to bleep Sting, please, Chris? So think about what you want to call this segment.
Right, is Factual Update a good name?
No, not really.
No, that's fair. That's good feedback, That's good feedback, and I'll take it on the chin.
No, because that means we've all been lying all the way through.
Yeah. That sets a precedent for the rest of it, doesn't it? Things that Chris has said in previous episodes that have not been received well by the other two.
Lovely, Sting.
Actually, he's actually right, and he has a voice note off a man to prove it.
It's a long one.
Things that Chris has said in previous episodes that have not been received well. He's actually right.
I gave up on that voice note. It was too long. I can't hold my phone for that long. It's like 14 minutes.
I popped it on like a little podcast.
It was 5 minutes 36. It is wild.
Well, should we give a recap?
Context, yeah. So, in one of the very, very early episodes of this podcast, we talked about, I have a friend who has a friend who set up a cottage industry of going over to China when there's landfill and paying people from China to go through the landfill, which comes from the UK, and find loose coinage, detritus. Apparently, it became a cottage industry. I mentioned it again a few weeks ago.
I mean,
these two have been waiting for this for months, so they leapt on me immediately. I could feel James's boot on my neck.
Listener. I don't think the problem was people trying to salvage stuff from landfill, because that is a very sad fact that happens in all the places where landfill is shipped to. People go through it and try and get any value they can, like copper wires from computers and stuff like that, things from batteries. The thing that I personally took umbrage with was the end of the story was a man catching a flight with hand luggage full of pound coins.
That's right. You're right to say that, James. I don't think that point was true.
So I know this friend. We are friends, but I didn't have his telephone number. That sort of a friend. So as in when we see each other, we have a good chat, but I don't have his telephone number. So I messaged my friend and I said, listen, can you put me in touch with our mutual friend, because I need to talk to him about, I've been chatting big about this guy bringing quids through in hand luggage. So I asked him, and I've got like a 5-minute 36 voice mail note of him, which explains the like mechanics of it to a degree. And it's too specific to be made up. It's not made up. It is a mad story. It got bigger. Basically, this is about 10 years ago. It got bigger than him quite quickly. And basically, but he'd come home with, you have a limit that you could bring through on carry-on of money that you can bring into he'd come back with that and he'd pour it.
But technically, they don't weigh carry-on. So as long as you can lift it.
No, but there's an amount.
Into the overhead locker. But I just imagining a man, he's basically got a bench press up 10,000 quids.
Yeah, but this is what, you haven't listened to the message.
I have listened to the message. It said it was a big man, but he's still got to go, Hooah! He's got a jerk and push or whatever it's called.
So he's done that. But you have to declare an amount, don't you? You have to,
yes.
Like, if it's like you are bringing £10,000 back or whatever it is. So he'd bring below that threshold back. He would take the big bag to supermarket coin changers and pour them in.
He's immediately lost 15%.
Yeah, but he's lost 15% of free money.
It's not free. He's paying people in China to find it. But where are all these quids coming from and where are we throwing them away?
They're in the back of settees. They're in the back of... This is like, it's stuffed down the back of bits.
So there's sofas going from here to China.
It's sofas, it's bags. It's just shite that we don't want. We're a rich country. We're like, just get rid of it. It doesn't exist. There is no problem.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And we have to be careful. Honestly, refuse, the subject of refuse is threatening to overwhelm this podcast. We did an episode about it like a few weeks ago. We got a letter off a young man called Jasper. I've never woke up to so many emails about this. We've never had such interaction. I had an email from my mum talking about recycling bins, and I was like, I want to just stop this immediately.
She didn't call you?
No, but she's wrote it out. I haven't read it yet. I can't bring myself to open the emails.
Has she sent it to the podcast email or your personal email?
You shared a screen grab of it, Chris, and it looks like it's to the podcast. It looks like she doesn't know that you're on the podcast.
Yeah.
She's written it as if I'm not her son, and it's like...
Yeah. It's just, I have a rural concern.
Yeah.
She just wants impartial treatment on this podcast.
That's fair enough.
She's gone mad. We can't talk about that. No, she's fine.
Don't.
No,
I think don't put
James,
it in.
Let me just finish the sentence.
I think just edit it out now.
No, why edit it out now?
Save Joe a job.
He's risk averse, Chris. You know this.
It's my mum. I can say if she's gone mad or not.
She's a listener. She might not know.
A valued listener. She's my set designer, my costume designer as well for my shirts. Like she's made me a sign. She's getting ready for death, so she's like done this. She's like clean. I think it's like a Dutch thing, death cleaning.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So she's at the minute. She's going through they're going through their life and trying to condense it down into like plastic boxes for me and my brother to just for it skip when they're gone. You know what I mean?
It's a classic go bag situation that the boys have, isn't it?
She's just like, I'm just getting it. Don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. MacBook Pro, 2 pairs of pants.
That's it. No sentimental things at all.
No trinkets. Yeah.
And it's not, I'm saying she's gone mad. She's not gone mad. It's very sensible and it's very considerate that she's thinking of us in this way. But it does mean that every sort of conversation I have with her is like, will you sign power of attorney? I want to be switched off. I want to be switched. Switch me up, don't be. And then the last time when I was signing it, I was like, so you want me to keep you alive as long as possible with all the medical science that the world is available? And she's like, no, I want to be turned off. I want to be put in a... She's like very adamant that we put her in a bin bag.
All of this is exactly what Jason Bourne would do as well. He'd have all of his stuff pared down into a briefcase in a bank, and he'd make sure that he was turned off so he wouldn't spill state secrets.
Which Jason Bourne? Matt Damon or...
Yeah, Matt Damon, not the other one. Who's the other one? Jeremy Renner?
Yeah.
Did he play Jason Bourne in that as well?
I think so. I think Jason Bourne's like an idea, like Batman.
No, he's not my Jason Bourne.
What we're saying, like the quid guys.
Did he explain how he got through security?
Yeah, that was the bit.
He got through security. He's a massive guy, massive Chinese guy with bags of quids. It says there, he got stopped pretty much every time he goes through security.
Yeah.
He got, he went through, basically stopped him, detained him, and he was detained until they tried to figure out what he was doing wrong, and none of them could. He got arrested by the Irish police just because they were like, something's not right. But given enough time, he wasn't breaking any laws.
Yeah, okay. He's declaring it to the tax man as well.
If you found money on the floor, though, do you have to declare that?
Yeah, if you're a knobhead.
You don't need to declare that. I guess that counts as a capital gain, and you've got an allowance of £3,000 capital gains a year.
And he's bringing in 87, by the way, it's 87.5 kilos is 10,000 clean pound coins.
That's a big man.
Yeah.
That's
what he's
man.
benching.
So this is what he was doing, but apparently this is a thing. It got away from him. It got big. I don't know if he's still doing it now, but he set up a company in Sweden because the fourth biggest amount of coins that they found on this landfill site was Swedish coronas. So it was some sort of mad cottage industry that sprang up. I don't know whether some legislation in the gap has been tightened and it's shut down, but the full tale is very specific, and there's some weird stuff in there as well. And you're like, it's not made up. It's true. It's an entrepreneur.
It's a salvage company, isn't it?
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
That's like those lads who go diving for treasure.
Yeah. I think so. James in just like he wants to keep, he's Googling something, he wants to keep the working man down. He cannot live in a world where the working man pulls himself up by his bootstraps.
He's Googling the podcast charts. See who else he can hawk himself out to.
I'll tell you what, with this podcast is so, like I say, we talked about bins. And the inbox has exploded. I can't keep on top of people talking about the bins, people talking about recycling. And
what's the general theme? What are they doing?
Well, the general theme, I woke up to an email from Jasper, the boy that sent us the breakdown because I think he's Australian. So when it comes out at 1 o'clock or whatever, I don't know. That's tea time for him. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand the globe. He eats his tea in tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's
late tomorrow.
But last night I did a show in Manchester. I did my little cinema film club show that I do every now and then with my friend Sam O'Leary, who's a brilliant director. He does a lot of things, actually. He's an actor. He does sketches. He does this. The only thing he definitely didn't want to do was the music for this podcast. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We've drawn a line under it. But we do his night in Manchester, and I met a lad called Andrew that listens to this podcast. And it was a great chat. He was absolutely levered. He was so nice, so lovely. And he's like, sort of, I messaged him on Instagram a bit before we chatted about his summit in the podcast, and he come up to me and was like, "You are bang on about rural taxi drivers, about the attitudes of rural." He's fuming because he'd gone to Lake District and they booked a taxi, and then they got in the taxi, and the taxi driver's just like, "Yeah, I want more money." Then you agreed, so he was like furious about that. And then Andrew was speaking to smashed a glass and picked it up with his bare hands, and he's like, "Yeah, this is our listenership."
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know it was going to end there.
No, I understand. There was a lot of information there.
I don't think I've ever met a Rural Concerns listener in the flesh. Or maybe I have, actually. That might be rude if I have. I've maybe forgotten.
You hang out in London with kids.
That's not... Rephrase that.
Oh, sorry. You hang out in the city of London...
with renters.
Your friends are 14-year-old boys. Sorry,
None of them are 14-year-old boys. I had a nice lunch today, actually, with some boys in their mid-30s, so it's fine.
Yeah, but that's very young to us now, Sunil.
That's 7 years younger than us.
7 years younger than me.
Oh, right. No, 7 years younger than me. Thank you.
Yeah. And what sort of stuff are they talking about?
Like Pokemon, mainly. They're
talking about Pokemon. They're talking about trying to get an house. They're talking about getting married. They're like, they don't know. They don't know.
They're absolutely not talking about that.
We've gone through our generation. Do you know, when you get to a certain age, you have wedding season, don't you? Like a year or 2 years where all you do is go to weddings.
Yeah.
I worked out me and Nicola spent, like the travel, the gifts, the hotels and whatever, all the accommodation. That we spent enough to do as kitchen. Do you know what I mean? We spent thousands of, this is a long while ago, but thousands and thousands of pounds. And it got to end of this and I was like, I'm not going to another wedding. I said, even if it's like a blood relative, I'm not going to another wedding. I can't do it. You go on your own.
What's the cost? You mean the hotel, the travel, all that, yeah?
Yeah. Just like the cost of, Dan's getting married in Kent. Kent's like the other side of the country and stuff like this. So it's like, it's a trip down. It's the hotels. It's a gift.
How much are you spending on these gifts?
I'm not trying to I won't go mad, depending, but you have to stratify it based on who the person is and how long you've known them. And
right. Okay.
But I think the day's so expensive and stuff like that, and I don't for the bride and groom putting it on. So I try not to give them, like a £5 WH Smith voucher in a card. Like
usually 50 quid to a donkey charity will do it for everyone.
I don't want that. I wanted money and stuff, But
what did I give you then?
I don't know, but
have a look through the record, see what I gave you. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
We got married. We got all these lovely gifts. COVID hit and we never sent thank yous out.
I don't expect a thank you. I've already had a free party, haven't I?
Is that, yeah. You're paying for the party, aren't you, in the present? You're paying the equivalent of like a meal and...
Was it free drinks at your wedding, Chris?
It was at the early bit, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay, free champagne, I think, at some point. And was there a second meal provided?
There was lots of food throughout the day. I tell you what, me and Nicola both show people. So we organise, I'm going over wedding season. This is like this huge, colossal event, really, for a lot of people that requires so much, which people are not primed for. They are not experienced in hosting live events. So me and Nicola, we booked the day, we organised the day primarily around making sure that 100 odd people were fed and watered at regular intervals. I've been to some mad weddings where it's like beautiful. The bride is beautiful. The venue is beautiful. There's an hour and a half coach ride between the wedding venue and the reception hall. It's like that's not acceptable.
No, I had a lovely time at yours. Good shuttle bus service as well. No, it was a taxi. It was a cheap taxi.
It was very close. Like we made sure it was well walking distance.
And Bradford taxis aren't that expensive, are they?
No, Bradford. And we got married in Saltaire, which is a very beautiful part of Bradford. As my friend Matt said from Cambridge, who's married to a lady, who's married to my friend Shona from Bradford, who I went to school with. Matt said, Saltaire is so nice. It makes you forget you're in Bradford. You know what I mean? And you know it's in Bradford because at the end of the night, my best man, Zach, had to some guy was coming in and going through everyone's bags. So Zach had to shout him out at a venue and do you know what I mean? Chaos. But that's pure Bradford, that.
What was the deal with Saltaire? Was that some sort of social experiment or something?
From memory, it was Sir Titus Salt, because that's what the Witherspoons in Bradford was named. So Titus Salt was I want to say a Mormon, but maybe he wasn't a Mormon, but some sort of heavily devout religious Christian type business magnate who basically built a town to support his, built the housing to support his factory, his mill.
Yeah, it wouldn't Quaker maybe? It wouldn't be Mormon because Mormons are mainly American, aren't they?
Quaker, something like that. Do you know? Baptist, one of them. No offense, but come on. So he built basically the housing. And from what I understand, and I should look into it more, but...
You're not gonna?
No. But being a religious tyrant, he had lots of thoughts and opinions about how people should live their life and stuff, like social engineering.
Yeah. Which
is really interesting. The history of working men's clubs and stuff probably coming out of a similar era of the late 1800s and stuff. Originally, working men's clubs were, the genesis of them was basically what they were meant to be. They were built by the upper classes and they were meant to sort of be a meeting place between different stratas of society. So the upper classes that's where they would meet with the working classes and basically a very lofty ideals, enrich the intellectual and spiritual lives of the working classes, which over a generation devolved into the working classes getting absolutely battered on Fosters. and no upper class people ever going in them ever again. What are you thinking, James?
It feels like you got something on your screen, James.
Yeah, it feels like you've gone quiet for about, I'd say, a full 15 minutes there.
Two things happened.
All right.
First of all, I was trying to work out how much physical space £10,000 coins would take up.
Oh, for fuck's sake, this.
And then I went on a website and then I clicked on a link and then it took me to like a Google Drive document that was like, oh, here's a way of like putting in, you can input your money and it will tell you how much physical space.
So you clicked a link and then, oh, James, I've just got a text off you. It says Ray-Bans, $9.99.
Yeah, free Ray-Bans.
Yeah, that's mad.
No, but then I was like, oh, what happened to what? I've got someone else's Google Drive. Are you all right? Is it all right to click on someone else's Google Drive link? So I've just been Googling that for a little bit. Sunil, and then I thought, actually, Sunil probably know. Is it safe to click on someone else's Google Drive link?
Well, I sent you both a Google. We use Google Drive links between us.
Oh, yeah.
It's safe. Yeah. Google, safest company.
Yeah, but it's like an intimate space between podcasters is our Google Drive.
Oh, I set it that anyone who has the link can edit it.
Yeah, but we're not sending it to some stranger, are we?
No, but that's what these people are.
Was this a fresh document? Because I was just looking at the old document.
I copied and pasted the old one and changed a few lines. So what's the answer to the quid conundrum?
I got too scared and have deleted my Google account.
I think it belies to the character of the man that he will not engage in the vigorous debate of the Working Men's Club. Who said he'll go on his little computer trying to trick me and say that I was wrong.
No. I was just genuinely interested how much physical space a body's worth of pound coins would take up, because it's not going to be as big as a body. So I think it would fit in your carry-on, but you have got to be able to bench press quite a lot.
So just to summarize, 10,000 quids is 87.9 kilos.
87.5 kilos, I believe.
That's 10,000 quids. And how many quids is he bringing back each trip?
Well, 10 grand's your limit, right?
Money limit, is it, from China?
I think so. I think like into the UK, I think so.
But if you were doing that as well, if you were running this enterprise and there was no crimes being broken, would you not just pay? You would build a network of people going in and out, and you would say, listen, 500 quid to catch this flight and go to London for a day and come back.
Actually, that's how much you have to declare. Anything more, that's the limit you have to declare at. Sorry, 10 grand.
I just think at some point the number of quids will dwindle and it won't be restocked with old sofas and more quids as quickly as he'll take it out. He's got to restock the pond.
Yeah, I understand, but just think for 1 second, Sunil. Think you're having your little Milky Bar yogurt that you have every morning. You have you have that. You wash it out. You put it in the bin every morning.
Yeah, I'm not chucking a quid in the bin every day, am I?
No, but what I'm saying is...
And how many times a year am I chucking a sofa out?
I don't think you can quite get your head around how big the world is and how many little bits of things there are in it.
I understand that the world is big and there's lots of little things in it. I'm just saying how much of this specific thing is there. That's all I'm saying.
Chris, I don't think you understand how many times you've mentioned this little yogurt pot.
Have you started a document? Have you been like keeping a mark? Have you got a little document that shows you how many times I talk about things?
AI will now do it for us.
Buy bigger yogurts, Chris, if it's that much of a problem for you.
Why are you buying single yogurts? You shouldn't be buying single. Yeah, you get a large Greek yogurt, add a bit of honey and nuts to it in a bowl.
Yeah, flick it at the kid.
Individual yogurts. What a waste.
Lord Fauntleroy.
No. Don't turn this into a different issue.
Working class. He's having a Rolo yogurt every morning.
They're proper petit filous as well. They're not knockoffs.
Is he having petit filou? Is he? That's 2 teaspoons.
No, I'm not posh. I am the voice of the working classes. This is confirmed. This is locked in. These are the personas. I am the voice of the working classes that went and studied at Lancaster University. The voice of the working class.
All right, Chris.
But your mate hires Chinese peasants to go through landfills?
I suspect the word peasants probably isn't bang on. So something to think about, James.
Honourable working men. That's how I say it.
So I was quoting quote marks around that for what Chris said earlier. The voice of the working classes said earlier.
I think it alludes to, obviously, since I've talked about this game, you tried to belittle and put it to bits because deeply jealous. We are deeply jealous of somebody who's got a hack that's managed to make
a scam. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Chris, do you remember, and I mean, this might be a bit of lore for the listeners, but when we all first started doing comedy, there was a night called The Crying Duck, and it had an offshoot night, which was an open mic, and James had to MC that every bloody week.
Yes.
And I remember going down and going, I don't know how you sit through this, James. Every week you had to sit in a cellar on the Caledonian Road and just absolutely bomb. Not saying you bombed every week. I'm saying like there was no audience.
Not every week.
No, it was just comedians. Yeah. And in the loosest possible time.
Oh, you had to do the admin of dealing with essentially sort of a number of, I'd say about 60% of them were mentally ill in some way.
Yeah.
And then you had to manage their expectations.
And they all had to go on first.
Because they needed to get off and stuff.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get down the stairs in some of their crutches sometimes.
Yeah, I met Alistair Beckett King. That's where I remember talking to him, playing old computer. Some of the best times of your life. Like brilliant. Also, sometimes where you're like, Christ. But also, like a few years ago, there was like, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, there used to be a website a million years ago called Comedy CV, which was basically like a Flash era website or something like that from the early 2000s that was set up to basically be like and you can, I think it's still up now. I think someone must be paying to host it still, but
someone's tweeting out a picture from it every so often. I
don't know whether they do that anymore, but they did it a lot. But it's basically, it was set up to kind of be.
It's before we had personal websites, wasn't it?
It's meant to be like LinkedIn for comedy, wasn't it? So you put your lists on, you put your credentials on.
Yeah. Well, you put your CV up, 1 page per person. And he's not on it. James isn't on it.
What?
No.
Not even under older comedians? Physical or prop based?
The entire homepage has a list of A to Z list of comedians, and neither of you are on it. You have to submit your own details, don't you?
How to put your CV on this website. The headline article, Comedy CV, new acts on the UK comedy circuit we rate December 2017.
Wow, there's some names. Goodness.
Yeah, but I tell you what, with that, someone during lockdown basically delved into it and started grabbing bits and quotes and pictures and doing a Twitter account. And it was so funny because there's a lot of mad people on there. But
Bill Bailey's on it.
Yeah. There's some famous people earlier in their career. It's really interesting.
Should we just quickly bring it back to the core strengths of this podcast and have a quick segment where we discuss James's new Anchor battery pack?
Yes.
So just to update listeners, James has got a power bank. Tell us more about that, James.
Well, in the WhatsApp chat for this podcast that we have, that also has other producer John in.
Who's he's a very silent producer.
Silent producer John.
He told me he's muted the group.
What? Is that after I sent that Marge Simpson picture?
Don't worry about that. Edit that out. We cannot put that in the Patreon.
Yeah, he asked for a battery pack a battery pack recommendation off Sunil, and you gave him this one. It was like £16, and I thought, let's dive in. I trust Sunil. I trust his battery pack recommendations. I did it. I clicked that button that got you an extra £1.60 off.
That's right. Yeah, 10% off.
What does that mean? Am I signed up for something? Should I be worried about that? Is that
you're signed up for discount? That's it.
Nice.
That's how good it is, that button.
I'm signed up for that. And I've been using it all the time.
Have you?
I don't even need to.
It's just fun to use a battery pack, isn't it?
Yeah. I've been just like sat at my desk. I've got loads of plugs in front of me. I'm using my battery pack for it.
Yeah. I tell you what, since I've done it, I bought my own since I've had one, very much changed my life.
It's been useful since the nights have drawn in for my bike light as well. Because if I forget to charge my bike light, I can just charge it. Boom. But what I want to know about care for the battery.
Right. Well, you don't want to run it down past like 20%, but usually.
Okay.
It's like a phone, isn't it? You charge it between 20 to 80.
You seem to know more about that than me as well.
No, this is what I assume to be right. Just because my phone has a setting saying not charge above 80%, just to preserve the battery.
Do I want to be using it as much as I am, or would I be all right to leave it for a week, say, and then use it in an emergency situation?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it won't run down that much over that time.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I mean, I'll update again.
Yeah, great. If you could next week, if possible.
Showed it to a workmate, and he was like, "Oh, what's the milliamps or something on it?"
Oh, what? I don't know that.
It's like he was like, "Oh,
just say a million."
He said, "Oh, it's 1,000. That's good." So I was like, "Yeah." The guy.
Is that how hard it pushes it out?
Don't know. I just said, "Yeah." The guy you recommended me knows what he's talking about.
Thank you. Send in my comedy CV.
I can't find you under. I looked under some of the categories that I thought I might find you on.
Is there categories?
At the top.
Asian comedians, the first one.
There's clean or family friendly, Cockney.
No, I'm not in it. I didn't submit myself to it.
Yeah, who knew Sunil doing something that could potentially further his career in terms of marketing, and he didn't do it. Who knew?
I just didn't think it was worth it.
Young comedians.
Okay.
18 to 30.
Oh, impressionist comedians. Is that people who do impressions? Yeah, it is, yeah.
I've just done that. I've done the penguin. I'm the penguin. You know what I mean? I got a really bad foot. You know what I mean? Put the thing there. On my big PC, it's not fixed.
Did anyone have a look at it?
No, because I just haven't had the time. I'm in the middle of I'm in a bit of a crunch period, so I can't get to Carlisle. I can't unplug my PC. I just haven't got the time to drive into Carlisle, so it might be a job for deepest December.
And what's up with your computer now? Because all that's listed here is that something about the keyboard.
Yeah, the X, it's an RGB keyboard.
What does that mean?
It means it's it looks really cool. It lights up. But the light on the X button has gone out. But don't worry about that. Don't read anything into that.
You've been going on with the app formerly known as Twitter.
James, we've done 47 minutes. I was going to launch into talking about...
Yeah, but it's mainly about quids.
It was a bit... No, there's quids.
Oh, yeah, and then your wedding.
Weddings, general.
Who the fuck is Mr... What the fuck are you on? Who the fuck is Mr. Salt? Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
Jimmy Crisp. What was his name?
Mr. Salt.
Jimmy Crisp.
What was his name? Lord...
Jimmy Crack Salt, and I don't care. I don't know what's happening. I'm losing track.
Well, there's one thing that I do want to pull out of that seemed to have got swept under.
Yeah.
Your mum's Dutch?
Yeah, is your mum Dutch?
What do you mean my mum's Dutch?
You said.
No, Dutch death cleaning is what he said.
No.
Which I don't think so. Either.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
like a Dutch oven.
I think... In case that audio sound listener, that was James doing a symbol for 3 tucks on a doob. Do you know what we should do for the live show?
Get smoked out.
No. No.
Hot box the Bill Murray.
We should do an A3 print. Don't come. Don't panic. We won't be hotboxing the Bill Murray. I'm not a drug man, but when I done a weed once, I rubbed my eye so much it bled, so we'll be free and sober. But what we should do is get an A3 print that's us free smoking doobs, and you can buy that as merch.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Can we each have a different speech bubble?
Yeah.
Like,
what are you going to say?
I want to say I like the Pope smokes dope.
Okay. I'll say toke me to your leader.
Nice. Toke me to your dealer?
Toke me to your dealer, yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, no, it doesn't work because I'm not an alien, is it?
They'll get the vibe.
I will say XL Bullies here, free.
Okay.
Everyone's saying a different thing, though, which is good. No, it's not your fault, Christian. There were only 2 phrases for those.
We're improvising. There are no wrong. You can't be wrong in improvising.
Yes, and?
Yes, and I'm not wrong.
And another XL bully. So your mum's not Dutch.
You know she's not Dutch. She's very, very from Yorkshire. My mum started doing Dutch death cleaning, which is preparing admin-wise for her being dead. And every time she says that, I think we've got another couple of months at least, Mum. Come on.
My dad used to do that in a way, in that he said he didn't want any fuss made and he just wanted to walk out into a field like an old elephant.
Okay. They go to the graveyard themselves, don't they?
Yeah, which, I mean, that is like nice and poetic, but the reality is a Kentish farmer will just find a corpse.
A dog.
Yeah, a dog or a
will
jogger.
find it.
It'll be found by a jogger.
Yeah, no, that's not nice, I guess. I don't know. What is the best way to end it?
I'm going to have my head cut off, attached to brain death's happened. They attach my head. Do you know when they put CDs or USB sticks with like examples of human culture and they send them into deep space? I'll do that. I'll put my head in with one of them, fire it into space. It'll go into a black hole. My head will land on this planet that's really tiny, so my head's massive. It's like frozen in deep space, and people like sort of they build a religion around my head. They worship the head, or they reanimate me, and I have adventures on the other side of the globe.
I think if we get that in a small enough font, that could be in your speech bubble.
What I'm going to do is, if I know it's my time, I'm going to go on Auto Trader. I'm going to buy a 2017 Volvo S60 D4R designed Lux Nav Auto with Polestar tune. I'm going to fucking smash it straight into a Sainsbury's.
And I'll be there holding your hand like Thelma and Louise. Producer James in the boot.
I'm not even ill.
Yeah, we've got to. If two of us are dying, we're all dying. It's very much. If Sunil goes, it's like when
it's too
like
safe a car to die in.
It's like when a pharaoh went, didn't all the slaves were buried? Right, we're going with Sunil.
You're decapitated in the front seat because you've done the head thing.
Yeah,
you've sent the head off.
No seatbelts, but you can have some travel suites.
Can I? We must be wrapping up soon, mustn't we, Jim?
Yeah, we must.
Could I read one letter that we've had? It's in response to Jasper's letter that we got about bins, and it's from Nick. So, hello, Nick.
Hello, Nick.
It says, "Hi, lads.
Hello.
Loving the show. I've just listened to this week's episode and felt compelled to follow up on Jasper's letter. I feel it was so interesting and informative they deserve some kind of special acknowledgement. I'm not sure if any of you boys are familiar with the weekly sci-fi anthology comic 2000 AD. Yes?
Yeah.
But just a bit. It's nominally controlled by a fictional alien editor, Frag the Mighty, who will occasionally bestow the Krill to Fargo Award on readers who have helped advance the cause of frill power. I think that Rural Concerns needs an equivalent award for special contributions, and that Jasper should be the first recipient. Perhaps you could even come up with a special award sting to play when you hand one out. Don't use it too often, though. The awards must be bestowed sparingly, or they'll be devalued. Anyway, for what it's worth, my general waste bin is black, and in my area, you can either have a green plastic wheelie for recycling or a blue fabric gull-proof bag. Within the recycling must be stored in translucent pink bags. 72 up, 115 down.
Wow.
One final thing as well. One final thing. I think we're past the point of pretending that James is simply the producer rather than a fully fledged and indispensable third host.
Fuck.
Yeah. He should own it and start introducing himself by full name in the intro and be added to the podcast artwork. I understand he's a very tall man, so if he's not comfortable with showing his face, perhaps we could just be drawn from the waist down, looming over you and Sunil. Keep up the good work, Nick.
Is your mum called Nick?
No, it's not. It's Nick. It's not the Dutch spelling.
No, lovely. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Nick.
I mean, I won't say indispensable, but yeah, he's all right.
No, I need to be able to go down a little rabbit hole about checking if I've compromised my Google Drive safety.
Yeah, we need to know. We need James to know that he can be replaced at a moment's notice.
Thanks for listening to Rural Concerns.
Do we have any live shows to promote?
Oh, thanks for bringing it to my attention, James. Yes, it's my show. It's Edinburgh Comedy Award nominated. It's called Easily Swayed, and we are at the Soho Theatre from the 4th to the 7th of December. Come on down. Wow.
Yeah, wow. But what can you tell us about this critically acclaimed show, Chris?
It's a lot of fun. It's about middle-age, male friendships, and wearing a cape. It's not for 20-somethings. If you are 20-something listening to this, do not come to the show.
Where else should they not come to the show?
20-somethings should stay indoors in Manchester, Bristol, Leeds, Edinburgh, Leicester, and Barnard Castle.
And just a reminder, we're also doing our first ever Rural Concerns live on Saturday, the 1st of February at the Bill Murray in London. And loads of the tickets are sold now.
Well, this is it. This is why we've pivoted hard into Chris Cantrell tours, because it's on its way to being sold out.
Is it? Oh, well, you can still get tickets, can't you?
You can still get tickets, but we're over 2/3 sold now.
Not long left. You can go to alovelytime.co.uk to get some of those tickets.
And don't forget that you could just email us like Nick did, talking to us with great ideas about the Creamy Award. The email address is christopher@alovelytime.co.uk.
And Rural Concerns is an independent podcast. The best way to support us is via Patreon.
That's it. And then for less than a £5, what you'll get is like regular bonus episodes. And you can also get in the Discord server, which is called the Creamy, where it's like a sort of court of owls of free thinkers in their very deep into the 30s, 40s and 50s.
Right, but what are they actually talking about there?
Well, right now, I honestly, I've not been in the last couple of days because I'm consumed. I'm up against a deadline, and I can say that they're talking about stuff that I found very interesting. So I'm like, I need to stay away from this just for 24 hours.
They're asking for recommendations of beard oil.
Oh, are they? Aesop. Well, you can get advice like that actually only on the Patreon. Support us now by heading to patreon.com/rural concerns.
Yeah, you can leave us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Has to be 5 stars, mind.
Why? What happens if they give us a 4-star rating?
I'll stand outside your house and bang bacon trays together till you cry.
Best put 5 stars then.
Best put 5 stars. Rural Concerns was edited by Joseph Burrows. Our music is by Sam O'Leary and our artwork is by Poppy Hillstead. Rural Concerns was produced by Egg Mountain for A Lovely Time Productions.
As a reward for listening to the end, here's an inspirational quote from the 48 Laws of Power. This is law number 35. Master the art of timing. Never seem to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a lack of control over yourself and over time. Always seem patient, as if you know that everything will come to you eventually. Become a detective of the right moment. Sniff out the spirit of the times, the trends that will carry you to power. Learn to stand back when the time is not yet ripe, and to strike fiercely when it has reached fruition.
I really like become a detective of the right moment. That's great. Yeah. I don't know what it means.
No, that does sound cool though.
I think it's like strike while the iron's hot, isn't it?
Yeah. And just like, yeah.
Search the moment. Search out the moment.
Be bad at jogging.
Don't rush in really into it, saying just...
There'll be another bus.
Rather than doing stuff all the time, do less stuff sometimes. And if you are listening to this and you get in touch and tell us if you've not done something and it's actually done more.
Let us know if you work smart but not hard.
Yeah. Let us know if you rise and grind.
No, the other thing. Right, what are you eating?
I'm eating grapes.
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 Every time I've realised like a problem's been happening because I sort of treat these recordings, like my night out, like having a laugh with my mates. So like every time we do one, it's like treats. Treats for me.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
the pattern that's emerging is we record these quite frequently. I've like put on half a stone. I need to rein it back in.
We need carrots and hummus next time.
Carrots and hummus. We'll start the last ever episode of the podcast. Not doing it unless I'm inhaling cheap sweets.
What about you, James? What are you eating?
I just had a medjool date.
Well, do you know, apparently I don't want to get this wrong.
Is it calories?
No. No, apparently in the United Arab Emirates,
yeah,
the dates, like, they're free.
What?
Bong. Like that.